Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
Thank God it is Friday right here. We are reaching you live and direct from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And this is Review. On Review today, we want to talk about something very important because, as a matter of fact, a tax payment in Nigeria is not new anymore. But then, a lot of people are so angry. A lot of people are complaining. So many things coming up after the Cybersecurity Levy that came from the Central Bank of Nigeria. A lot of people are saying they are going to sue the federal government and, of course, the Central Bank of Nigeria because of the Cybersecurity Levy. My name is Ramsey. And, of course, joining me on Review today is Olamide. Good morning, Lekon.
Thanks for having me. Very good morning to all our viewers on it.
All right, it's so good to have you right here today. We want to talk about the cybersecurity. A lot of people are angry. A lot of things have come up since the CBN came up with the cybersecurity levy. To begin with, what is tax?
I think for me to quickly respond to that question is to also say that right, why we are seeing this uproar by Nigerians is because not that Nigerians don't want to pay tax, not that Nigerians don't understand the principles of tax, but what they are afraid is the non-accountability of all the taxes we have been paying from a modest history of 1999, meaning that government have been collecting tax from Nigerians, but there is no much evidence to show that this tax is working for us. Now, to your question, what is tax? Tax are what we regard in economics as simply a complementary money or complementary levies that citizens pay in advance for development of their country. That means a compulsory amount of money that is not too burdensome on the people, but the citizens pay to the government as a means of contributing to the development of their country. That is simplicity of why we can understand what is the meaning of tax. But I don't want to go into the theoretical definition of it, but to simplify it, that it's a compulsory levy paid by citizens to their government as a means of developing their country. Then,
you said something. You said, well, Nigerians are actually raising eyebrow because the taxes that we've been paying in the past, there is nothing to show for it.
Definitely.
And nobody to be held accountable.
Seriously.
You know, the Nigerian syndrome. Is there anything, as an economist, okay, you're a political economist, as it is right now, do you think there is anything Nigerians can do, okay, to hold the federal government accountable for this tax that is being paid?
Exactly. One of the things that most Nigerians have been doing, particularly to the civil society organization, is to call for audit of most of this government revenue that have been generating over the years. You can see recently NNPC beginning to publish their audit of the year. Even CBN has been called to also do audit of its own, but they haven't done it yet. But we are still hoping that one day they will wake up and do it. Then other government agencies have been going to National Assembly to present account of what they have been earning and what they have been spending. Although at the end of the day, it could be a resolution on the part of National Assembly that, okay, this is what you have been saying that you have earned, you have spent. But what the federal government at the executive level is to do to sanction agencies or head of agencies who have violated the rules and regulations that guide their agencies on how to spend and how to make money in Nigeria.
All right, we're talking about the cybersecurity levy because that's what is bringing the eyebrow from every quarter, not just from one person, every Nigerian. Okay, but now let's see how important, okay, is this cybersecurity levy in a time like this. We must take into cognizance what we are facing, what Nigerians are facing at this very particular point in time. Is it very important? How important is it, if you feel it's important?
I think as a principle of tax, it's important with citizens pay tax. But when you now
I'm talking about cybersecurity levy that just came up.
It's
because we've been paying tax for a very long time.
It's also a form of tax. But let's look at a modest history of why do we have cybersecurity in place? Why do the government put that act together some years back? I think one of the things that happened was that during the formation of that particular law, a clause section 44 that we are looking at, which also have subsection 1 to 3 or there, but that explain how this particular money will be generated. Initial stage was to support and ensure that an agency will be created called Cybersecurity Agency of Nigeria. But that agency was not created. So when this particular law was now reviewed some few months ago, then it was now domiciled that it should be reviewed so that Nigerians can begin to pay for cybersecurity, and the money should be collected and kept in CBN now to be disbursed to National Security Advisor. That was what was obtained in the law. But from the base of your question, is it right for Nigerians to pay a tax or that levy? I can say yes, but the challenge, as I earlier pointed, was that because of the non-accountability of previous taxes, previous levies, previous tariffs that Nigerians have been paying, that's why most Nigerians are angry. Then again, based on the economic situation of Nigeria, whereby the purchasing power of every Nigerian is falling,
yes,
they cannot be able to afford so many taxes on the economy anymore. And apart from that, if you also look at the financial sector, where most Nigerians have their domicile account where they save their money, the transaction payment that we do in terms of transaction fee or service fee or maintenance account fee is also burdensome. Those are the reasons, those are the congent reasons why Nigerians are even flaring that, okay, after all, the banks have been exploiting us by
the exploitation of banks, yes, is just on the rise. Right. It's just too much.
So if the government now insists that we should also pay this 0.0005% to the banks again, it could be a burdensome. But for me, looking at it from the principle and explanation of what tax is all about, this particular one is a progressive tax. In the sense that it's a progressive tax. It's not necessarily going to be an umbrella tax where we call regressive tax or equal base tax. It's progressive in the sense that the more transaction you do, the higher the payment of your levy will do.
Okay.
If you do a transaction of 10,000, highest you are going to pay is about 25 naira or thereabout, or not up to 100 naira or thereabout because of the percentage equation. But the challenge is this, where we need to also clarify some things about tax education in Nigeria. Most times, our elite, the rich people in Nigeria, always find a means of escaping tax. So like this one in case, I think this one will be more burdensome on the rich more than the poor, because there are about 16 caveat area that will escape, that will cover aspects whereby businesses, where this particular levy will not impact businesses that much. First and foremost, people who earn salaries, this particular tax will not affect them, because through your salary, nobody is going to tax it. People who are collecting pension, this particular levy will not affect you. Now, if you are using check for your transaction, it will not affect. If you are using interbank to bank transaction, whereby you command your bank to do the transaction for you, it will not affect you. Maybe you are using a branch transaction also on the basis of your businesses. No? So why I'm saying this is that because big businesses, these are the avenue they use in doing their transaction, and these are the ones that normally have that impact on the businesses. And when we say it will affect the poor, where it means is that by the time businesses are also paying this tax, they will not transmit that price on the goods and services they are offering us. But from the 16 coverage that CBN have brought out, it shows that this is some of the areas that these big businesses transact their business. So that's why I'm saying it may not affect.
In other words, what you're trying to say is that this tax may not even affect the poor
as much as the noise they are making. Because for me, from the angle of
critical, but even the rich are also saying so much about this levy.
Because in Nigeria, rich people don't pay tax. Why do you think they are saying that they should be paying tax on properties and the rest of that? And before you know, they'll say no, they don't want to pay. It is because when we make the noise that it will affect the poor will join the rich to make the noise that okay, it will affect them. But if it is to be known that it will not affect the poor as much as the tax is going to be implemented, nobody will make noise about it.
Oh, so what you're saying in essence is that when there is a levy like this, when there is a tax issue like this, the rich stir up the water,
exactly,
saying the poor will be affected. Indirectly, they are trying to fight for themselves.
So that they will use the poor to fight for themselves. Look at the developed climate. Everybody pay tax, but the challenge we have in sub-Saharan Africa is because over the years, the taxes, the levies we have been paying, there is no evidence of it. That's why the poor majorly are against it. But we know that critically, from the principles of progressive tax angle, it is a progressive that will not really affect the poor as much as the norms we are making. But we just hope that at the end of the day, the government can have a review of it. And for me, as I've said on the other platform, now instead of us to make it a smaller amount taxes, let us put it on big amount transaction, like #1 million plus.
Yeah, by the time, I think we said something like that.
If we do it that way, then you discover that if they put it on #1 million transaction, the poor will just relax. After I'm not transacting #1 million, so how will that affect me? But because we have made it a little bit from 10,000 naira poor, that's why they quickly pull that.
All right. I think while the poor are actually clamoring for this reduction is because they are mostly affected. All right. They are mostly affected. And as it is right now, I don't know. But then finally, before I let you go, you've spoken very well. You've spoken so much. Finally, before I let you go. But can't the federal government, a lot of amenities that Nigerians are supposed to enjoy is not there. Talk about electricity, the good road, the potable water, and all of that, the health facilities are not there. Don't you think the federal government can help Nigerians, especially the poor, pay this tax? Or this cybersecurity levy, because they are trying to protect the cyberspace.
Exactly.
Can't the federal government just shoulder that?
I think importantly they can do that. But the only thing is that the only challenge that they have in that space is because they also want citizens to participate. In as much as some of us doesn't want to just go headlong criticizing this particular policy, but try as much as possible to educate people around the essence of this particular tax and why we must understand that when tax is being evaded by the rich, it more majorly affects the poor.
The poor.
Definitely. Because
I think I like that. Let me reiterate that. When tax is being invaded by the rich, it affects the poor.
Definitely.
Wow.
Because they are the one enjoying majority of their facilities that are being built by the government. Go to the GRA.
The government is even building any facility
See,
for
the
the
issue
poor.
is you can look at the uneven development infrastructure that is going on. In Abuja Center, for example, roads are being tied, roads are being refurbished. But go to the satellite town of Abuja. Are they refurbishing any road?
That's it. And that's where the poor.
A good example.
That's
where the poor lives. Now, take for example,
lives.
The road that link from Yanya to AYA, there is street light between AYA to Air Force Estate. After that Air Force Estate, there is no street light. You walk in darkness.
That's where.
And look at the electricity distribution they also created. The band A and band B and the rest of them. Where are the band A's? Is in the exclusive areas of the elite.
I think Olamileko will talk about this some other time. Well, our time is up. Well, thank you for adding your voice. Thank you for coming around on today's review. Our time is up. We have so much to talk about as far as the cybersecurity is concerned and tax payment. And one of the things that you just have to know is the fact that anytime things like this comes up, the rich always take advantage of it because they push the poor forward. But then one other thing is the fact that the federal government needs to take certain things into cognizance by maybe saying this levy should be paid by people who do operations above maybe 500,000, 1 million and thereabout, instead of them making it affect the poor. Like he said, the poor are actually at the receiving end. Well, this is the size of the review for this morning. My name is Ramsey, and do have a wonderful day ahead of you. Bye-bye for now.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.